As far as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. But first,
Five God on the beat.
welcome to the Deep Focus Podcast. As always, I'm your co-host Varun, my boy Murad. How's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm good. It's nice to be back. It's nice to have that week off, but it's nice
Yeah,
to
man.
to start talking movies again.
Yeah, man. It's Wednesday. We know it's a timeline's a little off, but we actually recorded yesterday for an episode today, and I don't know if it was that off-season rust or the vacation slump or whatever it was, but going away from that podcast, it sounded
Yeah.
like I felt terrible about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually is funny because I also wanted to bring up because last week there was a day where I wanted to record and you couldn't record,
Mm-hmm.
and I had full attention to do like a monologue episode, just kind of roll solo, or even try to see if I could bring someone on board to
Mm-hmm.
talk about whatever. But I just wasn't feeling it,
Right.
and the last thing I want to do is bring out a poor quality podcast and content for the people. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we're not happy with it, why should we expect you guys to be happy with it? I hope whoever is watching on YouTube, I'm in my quote unquote new digs. I got kicked out from my wife's little makeup area because she really like zhuzhed it up. She really bouged it. She had vines, lights, everything. If you want to check it out, check her out at Rupi Minhas on her YouTube channel. Talks all things makeup. I don't know what any of the stuff she talks about, but I do watch it and support her. So I would appreciate if you guys did too. I am very excited to do our first hot or not after our break.
Mm-hmm.
There were quite a few news, as always. Hollywood, you know what? Like there's always news when it comes to casting, trailer drops, and things like that. But to me, there wasn't a lot of subjects to really talk about. There
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a lot that got me excited, or at least to have a conversation about. A lot of just okay, cool, right? So I'm excited to talk about today. But before we dive into all the great stuff, in that time off that you have, like, did you watch anything?
Yeah, I actually I wanted to talk about this last time, but I guess I forgot about it. I finished that show Yasuke, the Black Samurai, with Lakeith Stanfield, the one that I was talking about on our previous
Oh,
Hot or
okay.
Not, and
Yeah, yeah,
it did not live up to the. It was really well animated, and the fact that Flying Lotus was in charge of the entire soundtrack, it
yeah.
sounded beautiful. The animation is fantastic. I just wish the story surrounded Yasuke's beginning a bit more, because in this version he was already an older samurai just living out the rest of his life, and he was pulled back into something. I wanted to, and they had little glimpses of his life beforehand, but I wish they talked about his beginnings more because I want to watch that. The show was titled Yasuke the Black Samurai, but it was more he was being the guardian for this little girl
Mhm.
who he had to protect, right? It wasn't how he became who he was. It was that wasn't the center focus, so I wish they focused more on that. I'm kind of disappointed, but I like the team, I like the cast, and Flying Lotus did a fantastic job with that soundtrack. That theme song is just it's so good.
Yeah, you're not the only person to say that. Like they weren't focusing on the right people. What
Mhm.
it seemed like. Like they had this amazing character to sort of work around, but they dropped the ball there and
Yep.
didn't take advantage of that. I still haven't watched it yet, and when I was about to watch it, like I was deep diving on Reddit about something else. I can't remember
Yeah.
what, but I came across like people talking about that show and that disappointment on that. I'm like, ah man, like with so much content out and with so much stuff available, I don't want to invest in. If it was a movie, I probably would have watched it by now. But the fact that it's a series,
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure I have the time, like make sure the time I put into it is, is earned, right? Well, there's so much amazing content out and more content that will be coming out, but like I'll mention in a bit here. But the one thing I noticed, it's funny, like talking about our previous podcast, I caught myself doing this twice, where re-listening back to the previous episodes, I will always say, "Oh, we'll talk about it later. I'll bring it up again later," and I don't. So for, and I already forgot what it was from the last episode. So for anyone who like wondering, like, if we, for any listeners out there, I don't know how many people are still listening to it towards the end of the podcast, but if you're waiting for my follow up from that, I do apologize. I got my iPad again now. I got my phone here for notes, so I promise I'll note down, like, hey, bring this up again. Like, I need to stop doing that. It's been so bad because I get so excited talking about other stuff, and I'm very forgetful. If you ask my wife, she knows I'm very forgetful. So even with technology and everything with these days, so I am using everything I can to make sure I'm on top of it. But
that's good stuff.
Yeah. So I haven't been watching anything new. I'm rewatching the Fast and Furious again, obviously with the new one coming out on June 25th. I'm very excited about that. I went on my Landmark app today just to try to buy tickets for it and see when days come out, and I forgot my logins for all my ticket purchasing sites and things like that, so I had to go back and reset my passwords.
That's
and all
rough,
that fun
buddy.
stuff. But I'm very excited to in BC we're going essentially full blown good to go again as of July 1st, as long as these numbers stay as it's like projecting. So I'm very excited to be back in the movie theaters to watch the Fast and Furious and keep that tradition going on. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. But first, I want to go into our hot or not for the week. So as always, you can find us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Anchor, on really any audio platform out there. If we're not on a platform that you do use for your podcast, please let us know, because we want to be everywhere as much as possible. And of course, we're still on social media, on Instagram at the Deep Focus Pod, on Twitter, the Deep Focus Pod, and you can email us at the deepfocuspodcast@gmail.com. But Murad, I'm gonna get you start going first. Let's get the ball rolling. This is why the people are here. So what's the first topic you want to talk about?
There was a lot of things that came out about new stuff, but I actually want to go back and talk about something that's coming to an end. And I'm sure you know what I'm going to bring up because of that smirk on your face. I want to talk about the Ellen interview. I don't. It's such a menacing laugh, but I want to. Ellen came out in an interview saying she had no idea about these allegations and she didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. And now her show's coming to an end, right? And I think that's very serendipitous because her ratings are trash. She herself is being dragged, and essentially the only people that are wanted to be on her show are her friends, right? And that's not fun. And she's never really been a good interviewer if you're not one of her friends, because she did not just seem like a nice person. And that was a surprise for me because I loved watching Ellen for a little bit because it was fun and I was in high school, so I was just like, oh, I just want to watch celebrities play games and not talk about anything serious. But you know, the more of her interviews I saw, the more I realized she's a very toxic person. And I fully believed all of these allegations, and now for her to say she didn't know about any of these things, it's in very poor taste. Varun, what do you think? Do you think she knew, or do you think she didn't know?
Well, I have from the beginning been a not for Ellen. I know in our original recording of this podcast, I did go off a little bit, so I'm going to be a little more emotionally stable this time around. But it's a travesty to think that she didn't realize that. Like, it really does. Mm-hmm. I want to say first, like, I do respect Ellen. Like, I don't like her. I never had a good feeling about her. I don't think she provides any sort of good television or good content. Like, she just dances like an idiot, and it's not for me. Like, I don't. Bro. She doesn't provide insightful interviews. She can be a bit of an asshole to some of these guests that come on. Like, it's bad, right? Like, I've seen it, and like there's things like she gets away with, and she doesn't realize she gets away with. Like, her like bringing on the Kardashians. Like, oh, would you rather this or that? Yeah. But if Jimmy Kimmel did that, or let's say if Conan O'Brien, like any male host did that, people will try to cancel them. But Ellen, oh, it's hilarious. Put it on TikTok. Let's put it on YouTube. Let's watch it. It's so funny. You mentioned this in our original recording, was the whole bringing like wealthy people in for like grocery shopping. Like, oh, guess the price. Like, this, you have these amazing minds that come to your show, and you refuse to take advantage of that. And that's why she could never have been on the level of Oprah. And to randomly end her show after 19 years with all his allegations coming out, you don't get to the top not knowing what you do to people. Like, you don't. Right? What she did works for her. Great. Maybe she wasn't always like that. Maybe she was always like one way, and then maybe something turned on and she flipped the script a little bit and got her even further to the top, to skyrocket to the top. Maybe she had like a career plateau, whatever. Like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if she thinks what she's doing is wrong. Like, if she doesn't believe it, like, I do believe when people say they don't know what they're doing is wrong. For some times, I actually do believe that, but that's a flaw in their in what they build in the belief system that they have. Like, if you don't believe you're a bully or aggressive, you know what? Like, maybe you can work on a little bit of self-reflection. So I'm definitely out on Ellen. I have a hard time believing she is what she is, and she's a waste of talent. Like, I think she could have been a talent. She could have been amazing, but right. Like, what's the like? What I don't get the intrigue with Ellen. Like, I really don't get it. And for the fans out there, if you're an Ellen fan, please tell me why you love Ellen. Like, I genuinely don't know. Right? Because I've asked people, and what I'm getting is like, oh, she's fun, do this. I'm like, I don't watch it for that. Right? And I know she's not a journalist first, she's a comedian first, but so is Stephen Colbert. Right? So
John
like,
Oliver.
so is John Oliver, Conan O'Brien. Like, he's right for The Simpsons, right? Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, they're comedians first, and they do pretty damn well. So, and Oprah is not a comedian. She's not a journalist. I don't know. I can say she can.
I would consider Oprah a journalist.
I will consider Oprah a journalist. But, like, I don't know. I'm happy she's off air. I actually don't care she's off air, because to me, she's never been in my existence. She wasn't part of like, oh, I need to watch this and forever, right? Like, yeah, that's me. I'm out on her. I'm cold on her.
So you're asking, like, what is it about Ellen that attracted? And I'll be very honest. When I used to really like Ellen, it was because it was easy to, you know, like, I would wake up, nothing else would be on, like GMA would be on, but I'm not gonna watch GMA, so I was just like, oh, let's see who's on Ellen, and I'd see her dance, give away some money, talk to some people, and I'd call it a day, right? But then the one thing that really turned me off were two things, like you brought up earlier. When she had these amazing minds that come on the show, she would reduce them to games, right? So it was Michelle Obama who she had on first, where she took her grocery shopping and said, oh, do you still know your way around the grocery store? And then she did it with Bill Gates, and like, oh, do you still know the price of Uncle Ben's rice, right? And it's like, if you have Bill Gates on your show, ask him about Microsoft, ask him about what he's doing now to advance, like, you know, science and humanity and whatever. You know, like
his charity work,
yeah. And when Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan, that's one of the things that they talked about was, hey, what is going on inside your mind? Like, what are you doing? When Conan O'Brien had Michelle Obama on his podcast, they talked about, like, President Obama's exit strategy when he was leaving and what she thinks about the election now, because that is a mind who you can tap into and get all these amazing answers from. So reducing people to just games for the mere and shock value and entertainment is what really ended my relationship with Ellen, my quote unquote like viewer relationship with Ellen, you know. So
no,
I'm glad we're both on the same page. What do you have for us?
Absolutely. All right, Matt. So I've stopped posting about this movie because I can't keep up with the updates. The sequel to Knives Out. I'm still excited. You know, so for those who don't know yet, but Knives Out 2 and 3 the rights have been purchased by Netflix, so they will be available to stream on Netflix whenever they do release. I'm gonna butcher his name, but Ryan Johnson is Rian Johnson. the director.
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson
would be the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson is returning as a director. He directed the first one, that I really did enjoy. Had a little bit of everything. Everything. So it had mystery, it had murder, it had everything, and a little bit of comedy. And Johnson and Daniel Craig are partnering up again to create the sequel and likely the third one together also. But the cast, it feels like every day there's a new big name that drops on here. So the first two big names that were added to the list was Dave Batista, former WWE superstar turned amazing, awesome actor, action or comedy. You have Catherine Hahn, who's been again all over, right?
On a hot streak.
On a hot streak right now. She was recently on WandaVision. She's been on Bad Moms. She's done a lot of great stuff in her past. I loved her in cameo in Parks and Rec. So if you had a chance to watch her work, please do so. She's hilarious. Edward Norton, I'm sure you've heard of him. He's a pretty good actor.
Sounds familiar.
You know what I mean? We have Janelle Monáe. I actually forgot she was on there. Janelle Monáe signed on.
Yeah.
Right? No. We have Leslie Odom, who was recently in
One Night in Miami.
One Night in Miami, another award-nominated film. Kate Hudson, right? Like, these are all other Hollywood royalty or actors who are all on a hot streak right now or something. And we've seen this before, where we got this amazing loaded cast. And Knives Out, the first one was a stacked cast. So not like saying it wasn't, and not saying it can't work. I trust Johnson. I trust the cast they have. But at what point do we get concerned? So my question is, are you hot on the cast members or are you not on the cast members that we have right now?
So we've seen, it's a great point, because we've seen Ryan Johnson work with a really good cast, like with Knives Out 1. Because you had Toni Collette, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, Daniel
Michael
Craig,
Shannon.
whatever, right? Michael, yeah. He can handle them, absolutely. I'm worried that he's going to use those names and just create the same story just with different actors.
That's what I'm afraid of.
So when 22 Jump Street did it, it was a comedy movie, so they could play off the fact that it's the exact same thing, same mission, just do the same thing again, and they will literally
say that too.
Yeah, and so they could get away with it because of the nature of the movie and how Ice Cube is as a person. I don't know if Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig could, if it's the same story just with different people, then it's gonna suck. So I'm going to say not, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited to be proven wrong.
Yeah, like with the work Johnson has done so far, like he's was part of the Star Wars franchise. I believe it was The Last Jedi he directed. He directed Looper, which is also a great film, and also Knives Out, and he's done other work on top of that. So he's done big budget films before, and he has done like high expectation movies, but not really in a sequel format. Yeah, he hasn't done two movies in one series. So I'm very excited where this. Excited is wrong. I'm very curious where this goes. I'm still hot. I'm still all in because until you prove me wrong, I will believe in the product. So at this point, I will still believe in the product, especially with Netflix's money behind it. And I do have a feeling that has something to do with it too. They're just throwing money at it. Netflix is not afraid to spend money. We've all seen that already. So I'm hot. That's for sure, man. All right, what's next?
I'm excited to see Daniel Craig in another franchise. I just wanted to add that before.
I know. Are we tired of? Are we tired of seeing Daniel Craig with a southern accent? Like, I mean, like I feel like every time I see him, he's either doing a southern accent or his natural English accent. Like, can you do other accents? We'll find out. I don't know.
We'll find out. You know what I loved? I'm not sure. It's just it's in the same vein of like mystery Agatha Christie-esque novel movies, but Murder on the Orient Express, right?
I enjoyed that, and there's a sequel coming out.
Fantastic.
Too.
Is there? I didn't know that. Is there a sequel coming out? Oh, crazy! Well, I'm hot for that. I know that one's unofficial, but I'm hot for that one too. Yeah. I had no idea. Okay, so.
While you say your piece, I'm quickly bring it up.
Yeah, for sure. So the next thing I want to talk about is the movie The Northmen. So this is another A24 film directed by Robert Eggers, who's done some fantastic work with them before, mainly in The Lighthouse. That's where
Okay.
sort of I was introduced to Robert Eggers, but he's doing another movie with A24 called The Northmen. Essentially, it's starring Alexander Skarsgård as a Nordic prince Amalth, who is getting revenge for his father's murder, right? And I've loved everything that he's done so far. The Witch I thought was fantastic. Lighthouse, I said, as I've said before, was fantastic, and I have to say it's one of my more favorite art house creepy cinema movies. Um, Second only to like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is an older film. But I've seen his work. He does really cool, really trippy stuff. So I'm excited for it. What do you think? Because I know we were talking about horror before.
Yeah, it's a horror movie, so I'm gonna say hot. Like just by default, I'm hot. Like I don't know anything. Like with A24, like they've brought up great stuff before. It's just something that never has attracted me to watch it right away. Like I watch it, just not right away. So I will watch it. I'm hot, mainly for the fact it's a horror movie by a well-known studio, and at least with A24, you have the expectation of what type of horror movie you're getting into. It's not like a cheap jump scare or anything like that at all. It will be like a fully developed story that we get involved in that. So I'll say I'm hot, that's for sure. But to go back on to that Orient Express sequel, so the movie's called Death on the Nile. So
Oh,
we have this. So obviously we'll have returning is Kenneth Branagh as the main detective as always. Then we have Gal Gadot who will be starring in it with Army Hammer, which I'm so surprised casting is. But like a teaser has already come out for this. I think this movie was already
was shot
filmed.
before everything
Yeah, it was
came
already
out.
filmed. But like, what was that movie where Kevin Spacey was in the movie and they brought a plumber in with
I
Mark
have no idea.
Wahlberg. It's based on a true story where the kid. Oh man, I'm gonna blank. Look it up. If you look at Mark Wahlberg like kidnapping me, Kevin Spacey got replaced in the movie by Plumber, and Plumber was actually nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which was amazing. But Army Hammer, you have Atita Wright, who was best known for her Black Panther debut. At least to me, that was her debut. I don't know. I think we have Russell Brand. So we have a lot of people, in this movie again. Nice ensemble cast. It does look similar though when it comes to the story, so we'll see how this goes and how it turns around. But yeah, all right, man. I guess I'll go next.
That
So
sorry, that Mark Wahlberg movie was All the Money in the World.
yeah, which I didn't
Yeah,
like. It
it
was
was
very
okay.
underwhelming. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very underwhelming. I was
cast
very
was
very
alright though.
unimpressed. Huh?
I do want to add to the Northmen cast looks really really sick because I didn't pull up the cast list because I just heard about it this morning. The cast, you have Skarsgård as mentioned before, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, Anya Taylor Joy, so she's working with Eggers again
I
after The
went for
Witch.
again.
Willem Dafoe after The Lighthouse, he's signed on for this
Then
one as
I'm
well.
hot.
Bjork.
I'm
So
hot then on this. Like it's just that changes definitely. You gotta sell me if it's hot, man. You gotta sell me on this, and you didn't sell me on it. But but I'm
I
hot.
was
That's for
sold
sure.
as soon as I read Robert Eggers horror movie and something to do with Iceland. I was like, okay, I'm in.
All right, man. So this is a movie that I had no idea existed until a few days ago. I had no idea it was in production. I had no idea who was in this movie. But here's the cast member before I dump movie. So you have Brandon Fraser, Matt Damon, John Hamm, David Harbour, Benicio del Toro, Ray Liotta, Don Cheadle, Julia Fox, Frankie Shaw, Bill Duke, and I can't keep up with any more. Like the cast is insanely stacked. Speaking of stacked cast, like that's an OG. Like this movie's about someone getting robbed or mugged or something. Which actually the movie is called No Sudden Move: A Group of Criminals Who Are Brought Together Under Mysterious Circumstances. Right, so it's very interesting. I saw a teaser for it. Didn't show really anything in that teaser, so really hard to judge based off that. But the cast alone, also written by Steven Soderbergh and written by Ed Solomon. So it's one thing to have a stacked cast, but when you have a well-known director and writer to working together like this, how can it go wrong? Which kind of scares me a little bit. So it's going to be available on HBO Max. I'm assuming will either be available on Crave TV in Canada or probably rent right away. We're not too sure, but we wanted the other to be available right away. It looks like it's a July release, like a July 1st release, which is the same day. Can't be. British Columbia is fully open again, so maybe if it's in theaters, I might watch it in theaters. We'll see, but I'm hot on it based on the cast, based on what the movie's about, and based on who's directing and writing. What about you?
I'm hot. I'm hot. I think it's a. I mean, like heist movies are always cool. Anytime you have those people, especially like Ray Liotta, Don Cheadle, like we've seen them do things like that before. So cool. Steven Soderbergh, cool. Ed Sullivan, cool. I'm worried though, and I'm worried for the same reason that I was worried for Knives Out. Because what if it's a really cool cast, really cool like people are on it, and there's so much at play, and there's so many different names attached to it, where it ends up suffering because of it. Do you know what I mean? Like all the Monuments Men.
Yes and no, but Steven Soderbergh, he's not like he's not done this before.
Right.
With Rian Johnson, it's a little different. Like he's had a big budget movie. But he's never had to deal with this much talent, right? So with Steven Soderbergh, like he has dealt with the talent. Like he's done the Ocean series, where there's some big ass names in that. You had George Clooney, you had Brad Pitt. I don't think you had two bigger names than that at that time. You have Matt Damon in there. You have Don Cheadle again. So you have Cheadle and Damon working together again with Soderbergh. So they have that chemistry already. They know how he works. He knows how they work. And Bernie Mac, rest in peace. Like he's done this before, so that's why I'm hot. Cause I feel like he's done this before. He's done this more often than not. And the Steven Soderbergh is not pitching a perfect game, but who does? Everyone has downfall. I love Ben Affleck as director, but like he's been perfect either, right? So I'm hot on this. I'm very excited. I think he manages talent, but yeah. All right, man. What's next?
You know what? It makes sense. I understand what you mean. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm excited to be proven wrong, right? And that's sort of been my take on it. The one more thing I want to talk to you about, because I know a couple weeks ago you mentioned you really like shows to do with competition because we were talking about The Circle and Big Brother and things like that. I want to talk to you about Legends of the Hidden Temple. Do you remember that TV show for children? It was like a maze in like the 90s, and like kids would go through and they'd be like this giant Olmec statue and they'd compete.
I actually don't know.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
so Google a photo of it while I tell.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Is a movie coming out?
No. It's a competition show for adults.
There's a movie in 2016.
Yes, but they're remaking the actual competition show, but for adults. So the same Legends of the Hidden Temple. It's gonna be
coming to Netflix. No.
CW.
Okay. Well, tell me before I keep looking and guessing. And answering stupid ass questions.
So it's going to be on the CW, and essentially it's like a pair of it's a pair of two people and in like 6 different teams. They all have to go through this temple obstacle course, similar to like Wipeout meets The Amazing Race, sort of vibe, and I loved it as a kid because of the statue, the giant like Olmec head like statue. It's supposed to be like Aztec, Mayan. That's the vibe. This is going to be the same thing for adults, and they have different team names, and all the team names are jungle themed as they were before. So you have the blue barracudas, the purple parrots, the orange iguanas, red jaguars, green monkeys, silver snakes. Those are the teams, right? And I'm just thinking, you have adults who are going through this like obstacle course and like they're going to be knocked down. And I loved Wipeout. I'm not sure if you remember Wipeout, but I loved it. It's going to be like that. What do you think? Because I'm excited just even for a season of this.
I don't know anything about this, so I'm going to say no. Like, I'm out.
Okay.
I don't know anything about this. I'm not sure if you mentioned, but when is it coming out?
It's in production. There's no date yet.
Yeah, so a lot of these shows.
That's all we know.
So a lot of shows have done Oh, like for me, like the reason I watched all these competition shows because it happened during like I mentioned before, the
Mm-hmm.
downtime during the sports seasons, or during
Mm-hmm.
the day of the week where I'm not getting a lot of sports actions or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
like the Big Brother, like Master Chef, and whatever the case. But for this show, the fact is on CW is why I'm out.
Okay. Whoa.
Because
Why?
what has CW done when it comes to game shows? What have they done? They haven't done anything before. Do they have the team to work with this? So
But
CW
listen,
has
I don't think that you need I don't think you need a well versed team to do a game show. Unless I'm wrong. I'm just
there's a
thinking like
reason, but
because
there's a reason why studios have a separate department for that, and not like any Joe Blow like, hey, go do this, right? Like there has to be some talented people, because if CW is like in the past where they partner up with Netflix, you know, like on Riverdale, technically CW, but they actually show on Netflix too at the same time, things like that. So at least in Canada, I don't know about anywhere else in the world. If it's something like that, I might give it some hope. But what has CW done when it comes to game shows and like competition shows? They haven't
that's
done
fair.
anything. I think they have like an awkward romance for an entire year, and one of them dies at the end of the year, and like you know what I mean, like it's so played out. Like I don't know. I'm out. Like there's nothing appealing about this whatsoever.
Really?
Um,
It's just
yeah,
gonna be a
like
bunch of adults falling over.
the title seems cool. Like that might get me hooked enough. And if it comes to Netflix, if
Yeah.
it comes on Netflix, I might give it a chance.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I am not, because
Okay.
a lot of these competition shows that I watch, they have one thing in common. It's a lot drama. I do enjoy the drama of it.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to Big Brother, when it comes to The Circle, Bachelor, Bachelorette, anything like that, like, I am all in the drama. Sometimes I make Ruby watch the episode. Like for example, like she watched The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I'm like, hey, you watched already, perfect. I wanted to watch without me, so she could skip through the drama and the fight scenes and just pouring drinks on each other. So I don't know if
So
I'm gonna
you
get that
just
with
you
the
just want to
Legends
watch
of
that.
the Hidden Temple.
Yeah.
I want to watch the drama. I'm not watching
Okay.
for them to like win $100,000. I don't care about that. I don't care if they find true love. I want to see like the process,
Wow.
right?
Okay. All right.
It's all fake love, anyways, right? Like it's all real. It's all like not real. It's fake. It's for the cloud.
It's for the money.
You know, the
Yeah,
IG
yeah.
follows, the money, and the ad,
Yeah.
right? That's what it's for. Let's be real. Don't lie, guys. Right? So you may not love each other, but you love the money, and that will keep a marriage motivated. You know.
That's fair.
All right. So
Well,
that's it.
now
I'm
that we
clearly
found
on
out how
that.
you really feel about love and
All right. So I'll go next.
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, now that we know how you really feel about love and how cynical you are, let's move on.
No. Okay. Rupi, I know you're listening, but it's not love. I'm not a believer in. It's finding love in reality shows never work out. Like it's messed up. It doesn't work.
That's
Right?
fair.
Like,
That's fair.
I am out. All right, so my turn. So I'm very excited for this one. So HBO announced a new miniseries called "We Own the City." So it's a story. It's based off a story that was written by a writer from the Baltimore Sun. I do apologize that I forgot the original name, but it is from the Baltimore Sun. It is a story that takes place in Baltimore about a task force called the uh, Gun Trace Task Force. And it really, a short, very, very short version of this is about the corruption within the police force. And the reason I'm very excited for this, because for anyone who's seen the show, but the original creators of The Wire, the writers from The Wire, are coming back to with this series. And then it is a mini series, and anyone who knows me, I love miniseries because you could start and close things off right away, and you could really expand some of the story, like the character development with that, which you can't do in the movie and might not be enough for an entire series. The cast is fairly, I won't say it's stacked, but I'm very excited for this cast. So it's starting John Bernthal. I don't need doesn't need an introduction. He's done a lot of great work, a lot of short roles on some big films, but I'm very excited for him in this role. It seems like his character is the main focus. I don't know whether he's one of the corrupt officers or he's finding one of the corrupt officers, but knowing John Brenthal, he can play both. I love him as more of an evil guy, so I'm very excited for that too. But We also have Jamie Hector, who's returning to HBO, most known for his role as Marlowe on The Wire. So he's coming back. So I'm getting curious what he gets into. And we have I almost said Will Garner. We have Josh Charles. So spoiler alert. So he's best known for me at least, is his time on The Good Wife as Will Garner before his character got killed off. He was fantastic in that show. He's also been in movies like Four Brothers, Dead Poet Society. He's done a lot of great things. One of those actors where he's never going to headline a movie, film, or TV show. I don't know if he does any sort of theater work, but he does. He brings enough talent, and whatever role he's been given, he's done it exceptionally well. So I'm very excited for the show. I'm very excited for the series. I'm gonna guess you're hot on this too, man. But what do you think?
Wait, I just had a question. Is it HBO or is it not HBO?
It's an HBO miniseries.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm hot, but I know I won't watch it right away.
Why?
I don't know. It's one of those things where like something will be like the Underground Railroad. I know it's gonna be a really good series. I just haven't started it yet. Like it's on my list, but so many like other things supersede it. You know, like if it's super serious, I probably won't get to it until I can feel like I can handle this now. You know, like I was thinking about watching the Underground Railroad, but then I started watching Master of None because at that moment in time I was like I wanna watch something more humorous, something more light, and so I watch it, but I won't watch it right away.
I'm still all in on this. I'm all in on this. I'm gonna watch it right away. HBO's done a really good job with this, with miniseries or short series dramas like The Night of, Chernobyl, right?
Yeah.
Banner Brothers. We can go on forever on the history of their quality of miniseries. I'm very excited for this, so I'm definitely hot on this. All right, dude. Last one. Go ahead.
So, I had a couple, but you know what? I'm going to talk about one that I did not talk about yesterday. It's the show starring Sharon Horgan of Catastrophe and James McAvoy. So it's about a couple during COVID, right? Essentially, it's just a story about a couple that, before COVID, you might see your spouse a lot, but you might also not because you're working and you're busy, like being out of the house, and you come back together, and the time that you have, you're nice and you're cordial. This flips it on its head because a lot of couples now are forced to be together in the same room, and like they might not be as happy as they once were. So this takes aim at that. So Sharon Horrigan's character plays a charity worker who's a coordinator for a refugee charity. James McAvoy is a self-employed man who plays who runs a boutique computer consulting business, right? They have a 10-year-old son together who is the one thing that's kept their relationship together until quarantine hit. So I like the two actors together. I've seen both of them in their respective works. I loved Catastrophe. I think Sharon Horgan's a great actor. I'm a not on this, but I could see why other people would be hot. Like it's an interesting premise. I just don't know if I want to watch that.
Neither do I. Like I don't see myself. Okay. I kind of dozed off as you're describing the movie to me.
Wow,
whatever.
Come on,
I already forgot.
dude.
I already forgot it was a movie or TV show. Like I just, it's not because like what you're saying, how you're describing it. I did see this, and I just I'm just not interested in whatsoever. I don't know what it is about this. If it does well, I want to. Actually, no, I would be surprised if it does well. If it does get received well, I would be surprised by that. It's just, I don't know, just not interested. It doesn't sound exciting.
I thought you fell asleep right there. You just looked.
It doesn't like get me excited to get home and watch it or talk to. I'm not gonna talk to people about it or anything like that at all. I'm out.
That's fair. I'm thinking it could be like Fleabag because when I heard about Fleabag, I was like, what is this show? And the more I watched it, the more interested in it I got. And Sharon Horgan, who was in Catastrophe, also with Amazon Prime, with that show, I was like, this is kind of weird. But then I got into it. So I'm not sure if it's going to be in the same vein as that. I hope it is because I I get proven wrong, and it's actually a really good.
If it, you know, like if it has like a more of a comedy aspect to it, and it does bring that sort of dark humor or something like towards to it, and I could see myself eventually watching it. At this time, I go through. Everyone knows by now on this who listens to this podcast. I have my recycled of shows in the sitcom that I go over and over again. So, but as of right now, I'm a not. If it's one of those things where I have nothing to watch one day, I might give it a shot. But again, I was saying about TV series, like for me to commit time to it, like I need to be invested in it right away and sold on it right away. Yeah. Those are the kind of shows I give a chance to until it's like beginning of August when NFL pieces haven't started yet and nothing's happened in sports and things like that. Is that the sort of lull moment where everything's happening? So I'd be out on that for sure.
Okay, so I'm the same way.
Right, like I need to be invested. Like I need to be hooked in right away. And as of right now, I'm not.
That's fair.
All right, man. I think we've taken enough of the people's time today. We are very excited to talk about what we're happening on our next episode. So, just a quick recap of I guess preview of what's happening next episode. We will talking about Tenet. Murad finally watched it. I haven't watched it, and I'll explain why I haven't watched it yet. Just because, again, I'm sort of not on it so far, even though I love Christopher Nolan, but I'll give my little spiel afterwards, that's for sure. We'll talk about our new Zack Snyder movie, Army of the Dead. It was on Netflix last week. If you haven't watched it, I recommend to watch. Do you recommend watching Tenet before next episode?
If you can understand it, by all means.
If it will be full spoilers, so if you want to listen to the next episode, please watch it. Watch both movies. One you have to really focus on. The other one's a lighter movie. I won't say light, but it's a lighter movie for sure. And then I'm gonna share my emotional preparation for Fast 9. Until next time, catch you guys in the Flippity Flop.
Peace out.